company doesn't matter. What matters is the founder that you work with. 5-6 दिन बाद salary and then I put an email saying कि I want to resign. And he said कि no, you are already fired. I believe this is being very obsessed with our customers is what we want. How much you work is less important, it's still important, but who you work with, where do you spend most time is very, very critical because that will shape.
What do you see in a person to take a call whether this is the right person to be part of your team and you have been in multiple companies?
Right. I think first is
Saurabh, thanks first of all for coming. To add a bit of personal nuance to what Adhiraj talked about while introducing Saurabh. So I got in touch with Saurabh about a year ago. The reason was I was trying to figure out a job because my previous company wanted to move base from Bangalore to Jaipur. I think over the last 3 years since I left McKinsey, I would have now personally interacted with over 40 founders of Series B, C, D startups. Saurabh's interview was the most memorable for me, even ahead of what I had with Anshuman, while he's not here.
Okay, ये मत record करना please.
Primarily because once I introduced myself, he was the only founder who said, you did a good job of introducing yourself. And then he also gave a bit more insights about him, right? Rather than just, okay, I am now a superstar, you only talk about yourself. So it was very humbling experience for me. So for me, he's a person who's very kind, who's very grounded. And I think what he's building at Stable Money is also a reflection of the same. But yeah, we'll come to it. So I'll get started. And I think the first thing, Saurabh, I would ask is, so you started something called Edgeways during college. So what was it all about? What was your dream at that time?
All right, cool. No, I think first of all, thank you so much. You are more kind. Generally, people who are from BCG and McKinsey, that was our dream job. तो थोड़ा respect भी देना पड़ता है. Because I could never get a short list as well. Like I with बहुत घिस के भी 6th day I got the first interview. That too at some 12 midnight got placed and then got fired from the first job. So जो BCG McKinsey के लोग मिलता है, I think you have to pay the respect. It's very tough to go get a job, survive for a couple of years. So that was one. Edgeways, yes. I think Edgeways was last year. We wanted to earn something because ऐसा नहीं कि हमको towards the placement is when we realized that we can't get a job. We were very introspective at that point in time and we knew कि हमको नहीं लगेगा job. In the 3rd, 4th year
Thought clarity.
Itself कि it's very difficult after doing TechFest and Mood Indigo and all of that also कि job बहुत मुश्किल है. So he said we'll start something. And the only thing at that point in time was कि and we had no idea कि हमको करना क्या है. हमको बस ये था कि कुछ करना है जिससे पैसे आए. And I'm from Aurangabad, if anybody knows, in Maharashtra. And that year when I was in 3rd year, there's one guy called Nishant Totla who came 2nd, All India rank 2nd, who is from Aurangabad. And my rank was 1,600 something when I passed out, right? So I spoke to him saying, I'm also from Aurangabad. We want to do something because I know you now. We'll show your face to all the coaching institutes and create a educational material for them and go and sell that. That was the idea. We got our first client again from Aurangabad who said, we'll pay you 30 lakhs. Eventually paid only 3 lakhs. But that was the idea of doing this. I think I regret of not doing and continuing that because there's no Byju's, there's no Topper, there's no any other startup at that point in time. Whatever EdTech has gone through during last 5-10 years, I think we had a very interesting opportunity. But the only problem was we were thinking very short term. Like जिसका 3,000 रुपए pocket money उसको 3 लाख मिलेगा, तो then it kills all the ambition that you have, right? You said कि ऐसा 3 लाख मिल गया बस happy यार. Like what else do you want? And we got a job. That job was also 6 lakhs LPA, which from IIT is very, very low. So, but we were happy. कि this is a great job. But yeah, that was the inspiration to earn money. I don't know what answer you expected, but honestly, पैसा कमाना था. That was the goal. That was the first time when I remember I got a 3 lakh check and got a first flight. कि चलो, let's go and do that. So that's about HVS.
Yeah, no, I remember. So when I got first job, that was the first time I actually bought popcorn in a movie theater. Yeah, different people, different. Yeah. So I think let's talk about your first job, right? Which was a 6 lakh job at JP Capital.
Right.
You, one of those people who left it very early, right? So what happened? Because when I hire somebody, I would like that person to work for a couple of years, right? You really, I would say, pissed off your manager at that time. So what happened?
I don't know if anybody has read other podcast जहाँ पे मैंने ये story बोली है. तो अगर सुना है तो फिर सच बोलता हूँ, नहीं सुना तो I can lie. That I was literally fired from that job because they agreed for, no, it was actually 9 lakh. And they're paying 50,000. Said ki, and we reached there and that's when they said ki, no, it's 6 महीना तो probation होगा. And we'll pay you only 50,000. And we were shocked, but we couldn't do anything because वहाँ जितने भी लोग थे हम जैसे थे जिनको कहीं और जॉब लगनी नहीं थी. So that was there, and there is run by a family office, very politically connected. So and it was so difficult that they used to send, and I don't know anybody from Delhi here. You're from Delhi, right? So हम मयूर विहार में रहते थे. I used to go to Gurgaon, and they used to send us a cab. कि cab है, and the job is to be there by 9 because the exchange starts at 9 and you just start trading. Because we had to create volumes, that was our job. तो और उन्हीं के cab से, and if you get late from their cab, you have to stand outside. And that used to happen with everybody. It was like कि चलो मेरे साथ नहीं होगा, but one day it happened with me and cried so much कि this is what you spent, like I repeat for JE, and I said ki you studied so much to get into a job from IIT, and this is what you get out of that. And then I left. But that was the first month in which they were supposed to pay us the full salary, 70, because 6 महीना हो गया था. तो मैंने बोला कि यार कि I'm not well, I'm going home because it's 25th, 26th. 5-6 दिन बाद salary, and then I put an email saying कि I want to resign. I said कि no, you are already fired. I have that email because the ego is so much कि कोई resign नहीं कर सकता मेरे company से. And then obviously that company got blacklisted, that company got shut down, all of that. But that's what happened. I had no job and to do. And after that, the time was so difficult because I reached home. I couldn't tell my parents, and I realized my dad lost a job. So the idea was to study for CFA because 6th December was some CFA at that point in time. And you got into trading. The idea was to get into a CFA. And when they used to sleep, I used to open the monitor at home and go to every company's website, go to careers, apply, put a CV. I have that email which is like, this is what I've done, this is what I want to do, and just keep applying. Like every night, 30-40 applications, and start again. And I had no hope. And then one fine day, I got a call from Fractal. Fractal, you know, saying you have applied, and that's how I got into Fractal. And then obviously from then it's a very good story. No sad story. उसके बाद सब अच्छा है.
That was in India or outside?
That started in India. Then I got married, and my wife was like कि बाहर चलते हैं. So then I spoke to Fractal, and they said कि okay, go to Geneva. And I came home and I told her कि Geneva जाना है. And the first thing that we did was कि Geneva है कहाँ? Till the time we landed, we didn't know कि Geneva is also not the capital of Switzerland for us. But हाँ, that's just keep it here, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Have to go out, raise funds, talk to my VCs. It should not look like कि ये ऐसे हुआ है. But yeah, that's how I got it. But that's after a couple of years of doing Fractal. Then went to Geneva.
And a lot of people, right? I know a lot of folks in my network want to try and move outside India and then just settle.
Right.
Because of multiple reasons, you decided to come back.
Right.
Right. So what prompted that? So what was your idea or vision at that time कि okay, let's go back to India and come back to India?
Sorry, I don't know what did you expect. मेरे answers इतने primitive है to all your questions कि I don't think anybody will go inspired out of this. But I'll tell you the real truth that one fine day for something we were back in India and I was heading back and the flight was again late night. And I said I'll meet my friends because some of them there was one startup called Niffler, then there is Tiny Owl. I don't know how many guys you know. There's a food startup Tiny Owl, similar time of Swiggy. Said कि यार ये सारे दोस्तों को मिलते हैं. And the only intention was to go and tell them. And if I go into any setup, उस time पे everybody will talk about Geneva, Switzerland, this, that, and talk about me. I said कि I want to meet them because then the conversation will be all around me. I went into that conversation, हम कहीं तो BKC में थे, and everybody was talking about startup, the work that they are doing, how exciting it is, this, that, how much startups are paying in those days because housing was then, Tiny Owl was there, Ola had just started, and nobody spoke about my Geneva experience, Switzerland कैसा है, Mount Titlis गया था, nobody spoke. I just came back and on the airport I told my wife कि we want to come back because there's so much FOMO कि how many companies are getting created and that's the most exciting work and what I go and do there is a larger screen and then there are some PNG folks जिनको मुझे बताना है कि देखो ये है they take a call, my job is to just tell them. So I said I want to move and we landed and then I spoke to one of my mentees, college में एक mentee था मेरा, who was one of the founders of Tiny Owl. I said, I want to come back. Is there anything? He said, come back and join as head of analytics in this. But I think the only important point is how these smaller incidences create such a high ripple effect on your career. And I think, I don't know if you plan to ask that or not, but that's one of my best decisions to come back here. And not everything falls in place when you think, right? The only thing was I had a comfort of spending 2 years in Geneva, saved some amount so that I can survive for a few more years. I said, this is a good time. This is a comfortable time to come back. So those, if I had not been to that coffee meetup, तो ये नहीं होता. Like, so I'm saying such things are very important and especially I'm talking here is because I've never done MBA. But I know that the most important thing that people take out of MBA is the network. So the people that you work with, the people that you interact with, and I don't know यहाँ का curriculum कैसा होगा, but कुछ groups होंगे and कुछ case studies होंगे और कुछ ये होगा. How much you work is less important, it's still important, but who you work with, where do you spend most time, is very, very critical because that will shape a lot of things in future and you'll be able to connect it later. But I believe that was the most important thing that happened from that particular coffee meet. Otherwise, abhi मैं वहीं पर होता.
Now, so while it was still not primitive, I'll ask another question which definitely cannot be answered in a primitive manner, right? Because eventually you ended up at Swiggy.
Right.
And Vivek Sundar was leader there for you. He asked you to expand from 30 cities to 300 cities. Now, if I were in your place, I would simply say, it's not possible. Give me 60 cities, right? Or 100 cities.
Right.
You somehow, maybe impact of Red Bull or something, you said, no, I will not do 300. I will do 500.
Right. अच्छा sting नहीं था तब वरना तो I would have.
Sting would have happened and you would have said, I will do 1,000.
Yeah.
So what is the non-primitive answer there? So what happened? So what was going in your mind? What was your thought process to take up this challenge?
No, and I think a lot of things happened before that in Swiggy which made me believe that I'm not the smartest person in any room. Like the only thing that has worked for me is the hard work. Or tab, it's not like he asked me to go from 30 to 300 cities. He asked 3 more people to go from 30 to 300 cities and come up with a plan and then we decide to do that. First, to differentiate between those 3 people, I had to say कि नहीं 300 नहीं 500 करेंगे. कि नहीं यार 300 तो सब बोल रहे हैं and everybody is saying कि yes, we'll be able to do. So first go and make a plan of 500. That was the major reason to do that because I believe and there are a lot of people I believe will be much smarter. But जहाँ पे किसी को लगता है कि there are places where we are not smart and hard work is the most important thing. I think this is something that we'll have to keep consistently doing. I know in my office as well today I'm not the smartest person, but the only thing I can do is I can reach there 8:30 and leave at 10:30. But that doing consistently, very few people will be able to do. So that was the plan. I said कि नहीं, हम will go from why are you thinking 300? Why are you not thinking 500 cities? And he said, okay, let's discuss and you come back with a plan. And then we started thinking कि अच्छा भाई 500 है भी या नहीं?
Does the universe exist?
हाँ, मतलब cities तो बहुत होंगे, but स्विगी कैसे जाएगा यार? मतलब उस टाइम पे तो औरंगाबाद में भी स्विगी नहीं था, जहाँ पर 30-40 साल से एयरपोर्ट है. So but then that led to thing, and then there was one intern assigned to me. That intern is again a founder who is running a lending company right now. And we sat together and made a list of those 500, and then there's multiple. The washing machine wala story sabne suna hoga. So we came up with a lot of those insights to first differentiate in the room कि यार between these 60-70 people, how do I differentiate? Is the first goal always. And the second goal is जब differentiate कर लिया, then prove that. So that's what we tried to do, and then it was an amazing journey after that.
I think one of the things, at least, so yesterday was the day one for all the students, and they were tasked to actually go outside and sell cold brew of Banomi coffee. And they were first supposed to pitch to the founder. And they were like 9 groups, and one of those groups actually differentiated from others by offering more, like, so we'll create content for you.
Oh, nice.
And so I think they were also now iterating what can they do differently.
Right.
Again, to make them stand out of the other 8 groups.
Right.
So I think it's an important learning for.
Yeah. Can you sell FDs also? Please. Please sell FDs if Saurabh and everybody allows me to do that. We would love to run some campaign and sell
Bonds coming soon.
Bonds तो आ रहा है, but FDs तो आप लोग खुद नहीं करते होंगे यार. Yes.
I am a golden ticket member.
Oh yes.
So yeah, after this, let's talk about I think a major milestone for you when you were part of Navi and you joined as a chief of staff. And within 1 year, you transitioned to lead the entire mutual funds business for them. You became the CEO for the mutual funds business. So this particularly, and I have been in these generalist roles, right? And I wanted to be a chief of staff last year. So how did this exponential growth happen for you? Were there any indicators or were there any inflection points which made this transition easier or difficult or faster for you?
I think doing chief of staff role at Swiggy is when I realized that it's not about when you are doing it, and at some point in time, and I know this is only applicable for only 20% of the people, because what you told me that 80% of the folks wants to start their own company. तो जो 20% लोग founder office जाना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए I think the most important thing is company doesn't matter. What matters is the founder that you work with. When I was chief of staff to Vivek Sundar, I realized that it's very important to know him as a person. What he likes, what he doesn't like, what are the ways of working, and all of that, right? And that learning carried forward to Sachin Bansal as well. And please don't record, but it's very difficult to work with Sachin. ये मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, सब आप लोगों ने सबने किताबों में भी पढ़ा है, right? That's the fact, right? So it's difficult to work, but I said I'll give it a shot. And then the first 3 months, 6 months, just to understand how he works. And man, you will never find anybody working so hard after making 8,000 crores. 8,000 crore के बाद क्या करेंगे हम? So that's the thing. But he works so hard, and I know for him the most important thing is having face-to-face interactions. I know the most important thing for him is not to do follow-ups. That's how he builds trust. And that's when I joined 27th of April, that was COVID. The first wave ended on 1st May or 3rd May, right? COVID ka. And the next day we were in office. And from that day, wave 1, wave 2, we've gone through COVID. Whatever happens, and I had my parents at home. I'm not saying that with very brave face ki I put their life at risk, but I said the only goal was to work with him. And I know there were days when only Sachin and I were in office because everybody was at home. But that was my time to build that trust, work with him. So then I worked, and then I know how he works, what are the decision makings, what are the critical points, how do I make it done, what he doesn't like. He doesn't like going and saying, hey Saurabh, I have done this, or this is what the problem is, or maine solve kar, right? If it goes subtly to him without you telling him is what he prefers. So with all of this that happened, in November, where the acquisition was done, I just had, wo Diwali ke time, I just had COVID, and after 14 days, went back and said, Ki Sachin, I've completed 8 months. And I want to talk about the next role that I want to do, not now, but 12 months down the line, because that was the plan, that you do chief of staff for 12 months and get into a bigger role. Yeah. You would have been leading FD by now, but tune join nahi kiya. So, and then I told him saying, Ki yaar, Sachin, aap, you know, there is one lady called Paroma who is leading Revolut as a CEO right now, and we were interviewing her for mutual fund at that point in time as a CEO. You know her? Yeah, I know her. Oh, okay. Please don't tell her. And then I told him, Sachin, we are doing all of this. Why don't you give me the chance to become the CEO? And he didn't blink his eyes. I said, okay, do it. तो लोगों को बाहर ये लगता है कि कुछ तो मैंने बहुत मचाया है, एंड ही सेड कि नाउ आई सी द कैपेबिलिटी इन दिस गाय एंड डू इट, बट ऐसा नहीं, आई जस्ट आस्क्ड, एंड दैट्स व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, राइट? I was giving examples about the interns who joined. This is one intern who joined from Bits, who joined as a product analyst at some point in time, and again working very hard and all of this. And he said ki Saurabh, I want to lead the new user acquisition charter. This is the most important charter in any startup which is in a growing phase, because you are acquiring most customer, you are spending crores in acquisition. How do you acquire? What is the funnel? What are the steps? And I want to do it as a product, and I haven't done it. But just because he asked, he for the last 6 months is leading that charter independently and has 2 interns along with him. And I'm sure if he continues what he is doing right now, he'll lead product in a couple of years at Stable Money. There's one guy who joined as an intern from front row to us, design intern, graphic designer, not a product designer. He will be our head of product in another 6 to 8 months just because he asked. So you will find a lot of opportunities to go and ask. You'll say, why should I ask for it? And what if people? और ये तो मैं सब हाँ वाली story बताऊँ. There are so many no's as well that you go through when you ask about this. So whether it's asking your parents, whether it's asking your partner, whether it's asking your institute, whether it's asking your employer, whether it's asking your investor, please just go and ask. We had raised our first round of 5 million, and that point in time we wanted to launch a product called bonds, जो हम अभी launch कर रहे हैं after 2 years. और हमने bonds का pitch किया. They said okay, 5 million granted. After 2 months we said कि नहीं, हमको bonds नहीं करना है. We want to do FD. And we contemplated so much कि यार कैसे बोले कि यार अभी तो पैसा दिया है, पैसा अकाउंट में भी नहीं आया है, and should we go and ask? And just ask, yeah, we want to do FD because we don't see the market for bonds. It's stagnating. You'll have to spend so much to get for bonds. There is a natural pull for FD. There are 50 lakh searches happen on Google on FD. And sorry, we missed out doing this research, but now we know we can't go back and start bonds. We said, okay, go ahead and do that. Our stable money's trajectory could have been very different अगर हम bonds से शुरू करते. So I'm just saying, it's you at multiple places you will have an opportunity to ask. Now I feel I should have asked him again once, ki yaar, why are you not joining? So those are the things I think you should never miss out. I'm sure all of you have gone through this as well and have some good positive, negative experiences. But I think that's how I got onto the mutual fund. Then I think then you know when certain such things happen that makes you believe more in such things, and then I just keep asking now for things.
Yeah. So now let's come to Stable Money, right? Which is what you're leading now. So you did 2 things, right? One is you went to Geneva, settled, decided, nahi, let's leave a good place. Then you became a CEO, and then you again decided, nahi, theek hai. Let's again go back to basics, right? And now you launched Stable Money a couple of years ago. So what was again the vision with which you started, especially because I know you were in financial sector, but you were leading mutual funds. But starting something which is more fixed income. So how did you come to this product vision or product idea?
No, I think leaving Navi was a very tough call for me. And honestly, I think the only thing that I fear the most, other than dying early, is you will be redundant in few years. And the pace at which things are growing, the companies are getting formed. I feel that I'll be redundant. And I don't know how many of you, but I drive a lot of personality, or a lot of me is defined by the work that I do. Beyond that, I'm a very awkward person to talk to outside this room. So, and I'm saying that if I'm redundant 5-10 years down the line, like I had nothing else to do. And to keep yourself relevant in this scheme of things, you'll have to keep going out of your comfort zone to do that. And that was the time when it's not only mutual fund, I was leading the health insurance as well. I spoke to Sachin saying that I want to go and start something. Because I've done my first startup, that was not Edgeways. In between, I've done Truce for a couple of years in Bombay. Anybody from Bombay here? Oh, so nice. So we used to do it in Sakinaka, and used to go to APMC Vashi 4 a.m. in the morning, where I used to see that Swiss Air flight, which I used to take for Geneva. And I'm on bike with puri sabzi to go to the restaurant. And made a bunch of mistakes at that point in time. I said, ki nahi, I have now seen Harsha at Swiggy, I have seen Sachin at this. I want to give myself one more chance. Personally, my kid is 8-year-old now. Everything is settled. Parents are healthy. I said, this is a good time for me to put 10 more years and let me get out of this comfort zone and a title to start something to keep myself relevant. So that's how I left. And then when I left, I actually wanted to do SaaS. Before this, और वो भी HR में है. Anybody HR here? No, right?
Adarsh.
Okay. तो मैं HR कुछ करने वाला था to solve for interview, and then I realized कि नहीं, I think there's no scope there. And there was one very great insight that I've remembered from my mutual fund days, that mutual funds में when you launch a new fund, there is an NFO that happens 15 days before, right? New fund offering. We used to do a lot of NFOs because at that point in time, we were launching 17 products. So there's a lot of NFOs, and we used to get people to subscribe to NFOs. And then on the first day of going live of that NFO, people used to sell. I said कि क्या कर रहे हो भाई? हमने 100 करोड़ का NFO किया और उसमें से 20 करोड़ पहले दिन ही निकल गए. And Sachin saying कि क्या हो रहा है? I said I had no clue, and then started talking to customer. I said कि सर पहले दिन तो गेन आता है ना? वो सर वो IPO है, ये NFO है. It's very different. And that's when I realized that people in India don't know. It's very new. Like go and talk to your parents. Like, and I'll tell you so many things. Like आपको लगेगा आप में से कोई भी FD करता है? Anybody who does FD? सही है. मेरा दिल रखने के लिए तो आपने हाथ खड़ा कर लिया. This is very good. But I'll tell you so many things about FD that despite these last 30-40 years of you knowing, 20 years, I am 20-25 years of you knowing, it feels very old. You knowing FDs, आपको ये नहीं पता होगा कि ये basic चीज़ है. Like, and I'll give you one example. 8.5% FD मतलब अगर आज आप 100 रुपए डालोगे तो आपको एक साल बाद कितना मिलेगा? 108.5, right? 8.5 का FD है ये, but ऐसा होता नहीं है. It is on compounding. Yes, you are right. Are you going to Revolut? But because banks are not supposed to give you annualized rate, they are supposed to give you quarterly rates, and it compounds quarterly. So 8.5 becomes 8.78. And this I got to know after launching FD on stable money. तो और ऐसे 50 चीजें हैं that we don't know. And like imagine this is the state of affair on FDs, which is the most favorite, the largest asset class on this. You can imagine what is happening for mutual funds. You can imagine what is happening for IPOs, stocks, FNOs, and all of that, right? And so that's when we realized कि यार सबसे बड़ा market तो FDs का है. and everything is captured. There's so many companies on mutual fund. Like if honestly we had to start something 5-6 years back, I would have started something on the mutual fund side, but 5 years, so many people have got into stocks, and all of you must be doing stocks and SIPs and FNO and all of that. I think this and a lot of people are slowly or over time will realize the importance of portfolio allocation. Why it is important to have a part of your portfolio into fixed income, so that in any situation your returns are balanced. Because I'm just saying that this, having that, like I don't know how many, like I come from a background where, or the city, where growing your money by putting more effort is being taught, not growing your money by doing better investment is taught. We used to do our investments to keep our money safe and let it grow at its own pace, and it will compound over a long period of time. But not like कि यार अब ऐसी जगह पे invest करो पे जहाँ पे पैसा बहुत जल्दी grow होगा. That's the generation now. But that's very tricky. I said कि यार ये change होगा, and who is the first one to get into fixed income? And to be very honest with you, and I'm telling this for the first time, is stable money will not limit itself to fixed income. We have ambitions to get into mutual funds and stocks and all of that. But we want to build it like a pyramid, because आज everybody knows grow and Zerodha and all of that. People have got into these businesses and realized that they are not earning because markets gir gaye, negative returns aa gaye. They churn off the platform. What happens is, how many of you have salary account in any of the banks? Like my salary account in a bank is the same for the last 15 years. It's very difficult to change that. It's very difficult to screw up the experience on the salary account. They said you start with FD, where nobody has any obnoxious expectation कि इससे 15% आएगा. सबसे safe product है, sovereign guarantee है. You start with that. You start with bonds. You get into gold. You get into real estate. You get into mutual funds and stock. So if at any point in time when my customer matures, and it doesn't like यार stock तो मेरे काम का है नहीं यार, मेरा negative return आया, he'll churn to the next one. He'll not churn off the platform. That's what happens with banks, and that's what we want to build. So though everybody, including the common investor that we and Scalar shares, believes we are a fixed income investment platform, no, our ambition is to get into FNO as well, but only for that certain set of users who find it comfortable. But we want to do it in a way that you get into your first job, you build your emergency fund on stable money, then you increase your returns as your salary grow to bonds like 11%, then you go to gold which gives you 13%, then you get into mutual funds and stock. So at any point in time, when you are with your family, when you are with in your job, you're not worried about what's happening to my money. So that's the vision. Sorry, it's a very long answer to why we started stable money, but it's just to sell people that in future when we come here for placement, that these at least few people apply and join stable money. So इसीलिए थोड़ा सा overselling.
Most recently, right, you raised $15 million. Congrats on that, right, for growing stable money. And given I follow you on LinkedIn, my feed was literally just stable money founders.
I'm so sorry for that, and to everybody who follows me or stable money, to spam your feeds.
You and Harish is the co-founder at Stable Money, were going door by door to your early customers and delivering them sweets to basically thank them for the early trust that they showed to you and to the platform. So what is it linked to the culture at Stable Money? Why would you, who would not have a lot of time, right? You have talked about 8:30 to 10:30 as your schedule, right? You have already raised that money. Right. So why is this happening? So why is this linked to, and how is it linked to Stable Money as a company? Yeah,
so I think, again, it comes to the same point that I don't think we are doing something very different. You will see that there are today 15 platforms that offer FDs. How many of you know 3 or 4 of them? 2 people, 3 people. But you guys now, most of you now after this, please say yes, but you know Stable Money. And so that's what I believe, that if you are in this market of very commoditized product, right, you will have to make a difference. And I believe that the only difference consistently you will be able to make is what I've learned from Sachin's experience from Navi or Flipkart or Swiggy's experience is to keep doing that customer delight, right? And that's been the part of our system. I don't know how many of you read, but we have 15% of our users who are seniors, like above 60 age. And we know to build for them is not our cup of tea. So now we are hiring a product manager who is a 60 plus. We are hiring a support team who is a 60 plus. And these are the people who will build for our set of users. And my vision is, आज से 6 महीने बाद you have a dark mode in your apps. You will have a senior citizen mode in our app to simplify things for them as the product grows. So I'm just saying that I believe this is being very obsessed with our customers is what we want to do. So, and we know that you can't do that by doing fancy things. You can do that by doing simple things. And that's exactly what we have been doing. I'm announcing this again for the first time, nobody knows, but we are launching our new product by this month end called Emergency Fund with a music album, which is being composed by one of our customers. And we are funding that and saying that you we'll fund that music album and you launch, and we launch our product. That's what, and this has been done, this is not done by me, this has been done by my team who is, again, I have given multiple, this is people who have been interns, who have grown into this, who are willing to do things differently. And I believe that we'll be able to differentiate things. You will be able to differentiate in your project, case study, placements, interviews, by doing these small nudges. I think that what matters the most, I believe. And we want to keep doing it till the time there is no competition. Then we'll take a break 6 months and then again start doing it.
All right. Got it. Thanks, Saurabh, so much. So now if basically we reflect on this entire journey,
right.
What is the one thing that you feel was the best and bold decision that you took, which made you reach where you are today?
The best decision was to marry my wife. Sorry, it looks off. But because I know her for 18 years. And right after college, इसीलिए वो J भी repeat करना पड़ा मुझे because I was not focusing. Because I think every day, and when I talk about these 14 hours of spending and in office and doing this, right, it comes a lot with somebody standing beside you and supporting you, whether it's your family, whether it's your partner, whether it's your anybody else that you do. And I believe that's the most important thing, because what I can't do and what most people won't be able to do is having multiple threads in your head. Even if you are sitting here and there is something happening at your home, something happening with your partner, if something health is not well, you will not be able to concentrate here. And I'm able to do this is because I know that rest of the things are being taken care of. If something goes here and there, she'll understand, I'll understand. So that's also, and most of you are like median age is what I've heard is 25. So I believe all of you are not married, unlike me.
Yeah.
Who there is? No one is married, right? So I'm the only odd man out. You are married, oh, awesome. And now you know something about him that you didn't know. This is the best call. This is very good to get married early. I think having that as you work on your professional journey, just think about this as well as you do this. It's the most important thing as well. But these are personal, professional goods and bads.
No, I'll agree also with the good part. Right. I personally also, and I was sharing with the folks yesterday that marrying my wife was the best thing that has happened to me. Yep. So.
Yeah, चल यार तू अभी स्टेबल बनी चल. I'll talk to Saurabh. अभी धीरे-धीरे करके सबको ले जाएंगे स्टेबल.
Final thing, right? So given a lot of people have now come, right? They are here to get transformed. They want to get into amazing jobs. Or a few people also want to be a founder. In one of your videos, you talked about that for you, the team is more important than the idea itself.
Right.
And when you're looking at a team, what would you give as an advice to these folks, especially because you hire a lot of folks who are coming from business backgrounds, non-business background as well, of course, but what do you see in a person to take a call whether this is the right person to be part of your team, and you have been in multiple companies?
Right. I think first is the intent. And I'll tell you the basic intent is when somebody comes to Stable Money, I ask them, did you see our app? I mean, says no, for whatever reason. I know there is intent that is lacking for that person. When there is an interview and you are late for the interview, that's the intent that is lacking for the person. So intent is very important. These is very basic things. But trust me, as 1 year down the line, you'll get into this. Already the job market is getting so difficult. And everybody is still looking for good people. तो वो कहीं mismatch है. And it's very easy to stand out by doing some basic things to get into that position. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, it's very important to know a little bit of background, right? Now knowing a little bit of my background, if one of you, and I know most of you will become very great founders, if I come for a job, at least you will give me an interview. So that is very important, that what you have done and how you have done that, right? Your 1 year of this program, what all you have done, what is your experience, how you cope up to a lot of these things and situation will become very, very critical, because it's very difficult to define a role, because most of the companies that you will get into, unless you get into a very different, I've seen somebody is from Lufthansa here, and who is from?
Bharat.
Right, so most of the companies that you will get into will not have a defined job. Once you get in, they'll figure out. We don't decide anybody's role for the first 6 months in the company. We say you do everything, we'll keep putting you in different places and then start defining the roles. Right? तो वो बहुत difficult है to figure out कि यार ये बंदा अगर इस skill sets के साथ आएगा तो क्या करेगा. It's only important to so many things in the past, your experience. Generally, very few of you have very small experience. So a lot of your experience that you do here for the 1 year will matter the most for you. But that's what, these are the couple of things that we look into other than basic aptitude and some of those things. But yeah, I think people will look for that fire plus discipline. It's a very difficult combo to have a fire and discipline. We have seen a lot of smart people, very smart people, but are not disciplined. That's the kind of people that you want for a short term. That's your Red Bull, right? But your fruit juice is what the people who might not have that kind of fire but are very disciplined, because those are the kind of people who will stay with you for 5, 10, 15 years as you go. And most of our Stable Money's team are the people that I have worked with personally in the past, because we know what are the pros and cons, and I know what are the strengths where we want to double down on somebody and get most out of that person. So I think these are the few things, but things are changing really fast on interview. There is a different trend right now that people want to work with you for a month or two before taking a call. ऐसा पहले कभी होता नहीं था. So that's also is happening, because it's a very, because you will now spend 14 hours together a day. So it's important to know each other, kind of thing.
Got it. Thanks. We'll also take few questions if folks have a few minutes, and yeah.
Okay, please be kind. So I'm very curious to know, what was your role at Lufthansa?
I was an executive.
Okay.
So I was working for the cargo.
Okay. Oh, okay, got it. I'm very big fan of, though I never traveled in Lufthansa, but a very big fan of the customer experience of Lufthansa.
Yeah.
That's the place. There are a lot of these Michelin star restaurants in the US, right? I was reading one book. I'll send that book to you guys as well. Is to how do you create customer experience? They gave very, very interesting experiences. Sometime in a restaurant, there is a couple who enter and is very sad, and they were having bags and everything because they missed their flight to a beach whenever they were supposed to go. And these people realized these people are very sad. So they took the order and everything. But before delivering the order, they got some sand and they put it down under the table and said, sorry, we can't take you to the beach, but at least we can give you that experience. And that is very, very important. Lufthansa, a lot of companies that you have worked might be doing, might not be doing that. But that's exactly what you need to do consistently over a long period of time for it to compound this. Sorry.
And a very conversation. What I wanted to ask is, you mentioned that your biggest regret was not joining Ola.
Yeah.
But if given the opportunity, would you actually make that decision if you had the chance to do it now?
It is a very difficult, like at that point in time, a lot of things have worked. And to be very honest with you, if I was not regretting every day for not joining Ola, I wouldn't have taken so many riskier bets. Because मुझे हमेशा लगता कि things are going well and I have been taking good decisions. Because I have taken some bad decisions. I said, no, I want to come back from Geneva. I said, no, I want to leave to do a startup. Then I want to go to Bangalore and settle in Bangalore and do Swiggy, where my family was in Bombay. And leave Swiggy when it was growing to get to Sachin. So I'm just saying it, maybe because I did not do that, this happened and all of this. But very honest answer, no, I'm happy how things have panned out by this. But contemplating is very, very important. Those decision makings, what you do, because that sets your framework. Today, if we want to take a bold bet, like FinTech launching a music album, we'll take that bet. I know it can land very flat also on this, but we know that in the past, I haven't taken a lot of such bets in doing this. So that shapes you. But I know I'm happy. I bought Ola Electric. Shares.
So, considering that you've transitioned from working with great leaders now to being a founder,
Right.
I just wanted to understand, because you emphasize so much on how your team, or it could be you also working closely with the customer with the music album or sharing the sweets and all that.
Right.
I just want to understand, being an employee or a teammate under a great leader, how did you see them working on the culture of the company and that affecting the entire, maybe the product team building with that passion, or the customer relationship team working with that passion.
Right.
And now, how do you work towards building the culture of your company, or that transitioning to the bottom line of the team?
Right. Yeah. So I think culture का definition बहुत muddled है. And to be very honest, till first week of May, which is 1.5 years of starting the company, we were Saturday working. There are no free lunches or dinner. There are no hampers. There are whatever other companies are giving, right? We don't have all of that. And a lot of people compare us to a bad culture. I don't know how many of you have seen Grapevine. You know the app. Grapevine पे कभी मेरे बारे में एक चीज़ लिखी थी, तुमने सुना होगा, which says कि there is a daily stand-up at 10:30. It used to be at 10. If somebody comes late, there is a fine. And I'm taking that fine to fund my company. But in the last part, everything was true. Okay, there is a stand-up. There is, if you do come late, there used to be that. But if you come late, there was a fine. I used to take that fund and obviously go and celebrate every month. And people think that is a culture. And to me, the culture is the only thing, is that how openly and real time you share feedback between your teams. That is the only culture at Stable Money. How team is not afraid to share the feedback with me that Saurabh, you're doing this absolutely wrong. This is not right. This is what is happening right now, and we need to fix this. And how real-time quick feedback I'm sharing with the team. Because that case, nobody is thinking twice that what my team is thinking about me, what my team is thinking between themselves, and what I am thinking about them. Right? It's everything absolutely clear, so that you can operate so freely, and all other things are just those ribbons and balloons around the culture. But that's the only thing that we ensure that we talk consistently. If there is a bad meeting, and it's not like I'll talk in the front of everybody and saying, "Ki boss, why are you doing this?" I'll talk to you immediately after the meeting, one-on-one in this room, and say, "This is what my feedback, this is what you have done, this is what you shouldn't have done." And vice versa with the team as well, is what we are trying to do. And when you think of a company, or when you think now here, because this is your company for next 1 year, How you share feedback with the team, how they share feedback with you will define a culture here. Because मैं आपको अगर sugar coat करके बोलूँगा यार आप अच्छे कर रहे हो and then you go to the placement and you realize कि no, I was not doing well, is not good. And you giving them feedback in नहीं sir सब सही चल रहा है, I'm learning everything and all of that, and actually you are not happy, that doesn't help. So that is what is culture. Fancy rooms, setups, all of that is ribbons and balloons. This is what is culture.
But when you consider being an employee of a company, would you think maybe that free means everything matters to the image?
It does matter. I'm not saying we will not give that. I'm not saying कि हम वो करना नहीं चाहते. There are a lot of things that we do, but when we talk about culture, that's not the culture. Maybe those are some of the basic things that you will need, that you should have. That everybody, like for example, we don't talk about it, but we are the only company where we cover the health insurance for parents as well. And it's a 3x cost, you know, because not your parents, but our kind of parents are senior citizens. अभी उनको कोई medical insurance देता नहीं है. It comes, sorry? 70-75 types कुछ है. हाँ. So I'm just saying, but this is a group insurance. So in group insurance, what happens is, you don't have to do a medical test. So my parents are by default cover. Even if my dad went through a stroke or somebody's parents have a diabetes and all of that. And we do that, and by nature of it, we are having some or the other case every month, and my next year premium is going up massively. उससे अच्छा तो मैं free lunch दे देता. But that's not what we want, right? We also want people who can understand these nuances and not think about कि Mac के laptops मिल रहे हैं या क्या मिल रहे हैं. तो yeah, so that's what defines culture.
One last question.
So I just want to know how stable money is earning trust of their targeted audience, since I'm assuming targeted audience range in the kind of like our parents basically, who generally not belong to more of an internet industry and generally trust traditional banking.
Right.
So how stable money is?
Like it hurts me every day when people say कि stable money is for my parents.
Yeah, basically they have low risk.
No, I understand. And it's very natural to think that, but you'll be surprised that my median age is 30 of investor. It's only 15% of the users who go through this, because I don't know which, like if you go to tier 2 cities, that's what I'm saying. You have been taught to open one more shop, or do better business, or grow, या पढ़ाई करो, and all of that, right? So that is what we have been taught, because our parents are being कि घर में एक बजाज चेतक है और घर में टीवी है. That's the basic thing. Have a consistent job. That was the most important thing for them. So and that's a large mass. Like मैं तो 1,20,000 crores worth of FDs. It's growing 6% annually. Right now. Like if in 5 years our projections to our investors is we will be having a $20 billion worth of FDs on our platform. And that means 3% market share. That's how large the business is. So anyway, so I think so people are across the brackets, and there are 15% people who are senior citizens. And trust, we have done it in multiple ways. Trust, we have done it through what we are communicating onto the app. So keeping the language very simple, demystifying some of these things that is not being understood. When I tell you something about 8.5%, is not 8.5%, it's 8.8%. What you will do? You will go outside the room, call your parents, or tell anybody who does investments and say कि यार तुझे ये पता है. And when you do this, to show that you are smart and you've learned something that you didn't know, and that person, it builds trust. Because now that person is happy, it builds that you know something because of stable money, that builds trust.
Word of mouth.
So word of mouth, but doing it by telling something that people didn't know. Doing it, being very honest in this. We are the only maybe FinTech right now where there is a call support, where 10% call lands to me and Harish onto this to talk to our customers wherever there are issues or wherever they have questions, because human interactions build trust. Staying close to our customers where we send gifts and all of that is one way of doing that. Getting bigger banks onto the platform builds trust. Today we have IndusInd Bank on our platform. Now people have not heard of Suryodaya Bank, but they have heard of IndusInd Bank. Now anybody who sees IndusInd Bank sees that अगर IndusInd Bank इस platform पे है और मैं उसको सालों से देख रही हूँ, then IndusInd Bank must have done some test on stable money before getting onto the platform, so I trust this platform. So by just putting that logo, my money still goes to the small finance bank, but that builds trust. So there are a lot of these smaller things that you do to build trust. Like this conversation is to build trust about stable money. When I come 1 year after here for placement, is कि यार we have built trust onto this platform because founders spoke about such things that nobody knew. So I think these are very small things which compounds, but you will be able to see it few years down the line. It's very difficult to measure the impact कि अभी मैंने trust rating कितना बढ़ाया है तुम्हारे बीच में. It's very difficult to do that. We can still go and rate us 5-star on stable money, Play Store and App Store. Very happy to do that. We just want to keep going to that 4.8, 4.9. Yes.
Okay, one last. And we'll do 2 quick ones. No,
I will cover all the questions. Please, you like this outside. I know there is a program, but you guys can ping me on LinkedIn. We'll accept. We'll talk. If everything goes well, we'll exchange numbers and then build relationship. हाँ ये तो मैं कि कितने का FD किया? What is your customer ID?
Actually, my question is very similar to hers. It's like the younger generation is not very keen on investing in FDs. And second thing, how are you competing with other investing options like PPFs and SGBs, ELSs, since they are giving tax benefits? So how about?
SGB बंद हो गया. तो ये तो एक प्रॉब्लम तो सॉल्व है मेरा कि SGB है ही नहीं, अब गवर्नमेंट भी नहीं दे रहा है, तो वो अभी उसका टेंशन नहीं है. अब हाँ ELSS का टेंशन है. ELSS is still a good thing, and I'm not saying that my entire investment has to go into stable money. I'm just saying a part of your investment has to go. Like, and if you go back and think, some of you have FD investment, you just think about it every day, and that's why you're thinking that we don't do FDs, that's not for us. Or your parents have done enough FDs for you, Hina, in crores, that you are like कि यार parents का है तो मैं क्यों करूँ? हाँ, but
How are you making younger generation move into FDs?
हाँ, so first is जिनके पेरेंट्स ने FD नहीं किए उनके लिए वो लोग करते हैं. And we work with our parents. You'll go and talk to your parent. Please talk to your parents and say कि don't put their entire money in one bank. Diversify, get higher returns, do everything digitally. So that's our 15%. But a lot of people who do in stocks and that's where we are building features, because we know कि FD can't be that traditional thing जहाँ पर आज किया 2-4 दिन पैसा आ रहा है. नहीं, that's why we worked with bank and said when you withdraw FD on stable money, again I'm selling this, when you make an FD and withdraw FD on stable money, you will get money before my PN comes onto your app within 3 seconds. That's how fast it is. तो अगर 2:30 बजे मार्केट गिरा है और उसको पता है कि यार मुझे इंडेक्स फंड में डालना है, he can withdraw his FD and put it. There are a lot of people, we have still few thousand users on their first day of salary, put money on FD, and on 21st, 22nd, before paying a home loan or a credit card bill, withdraw money and make that 1.5% extra. So that's there. So there is still, I'm just saying, there is still a larger TG who believes in FD, who does in FD, and our work constantly by innovating and having this session to convince people like Hina to invest in FD. But there is a large group outside Bangalore and Bombay जो FD करता है. अब उनको physical से online लाना है, so that's what we are doing. We are saying कि now even if you book FD on our platform, you get an FD receipt. But if you request, we'll send you a direct FD receipt to your home. If you want to talk to banks, you can talk to banks. So we haven't done that job perfectly well. It's still very small organization, but that's what we are aiming towards. But अभी भी customers आते हैं. Like go to your tier 2, tier 3 cousins and friends and ask them. They do some part. They do SIP as well, but they do some part. और अगर कोई नहीं करता है तो their parents are like Hina's parents. So saved.
Just kind of follow up with the same question. Then how do one segregate their portfolio in terms of FD and SIPs and all that, because the stock now, and people are thinking that stocks give more percentage, but they're also getting educated regarding FD and the rate of interest that it gives. So what are the top 5, or like how do you segregate your asset first, and what are the top 5 that you can manage your portfolio? What are the top 5 things that you can do?
Right. Ideally, I should charge for this answer. No, there is no straightforward answer to this question.
And also, it depends on one's own risk appetite and all that.
Yeah, अब लोग crypto में भी कर रहे हैं. I'm just saying कि it depends, but a rule of thumb is having a good 30, 35, 40% in a fixed income. I'm not saying FD. In a fixed income is good, which is your real estate, which is your gold, which is your fixed deposit, which is your bonds, which is your SGB, which is everything, all of that, right? 30, 40% having there is enough. So that, because the only place, and you will be surprised with this, that Kotak Mutual Fund has given on one of its fund a return of 17%, right, over 5 years. But only 20% of the users got 17%. Because people entered and exited at the wrong time. The only time you can make money in stocks and mutual funds and anything is when you stay longer into this and not trade. And to stay longer in that, you will go through cycles. And when you go through cycles, you have to be comfortable saying, okay, I will continue to be invested in this. For that, you need a cushion to do that. So, wo hai. So I'm just saying that that is what is important. When you decide on a career and all of that, say, yaar, I want to start something and I want to leave, will come from a confidence if you have saved some money, which I did in Geneva and came and started something, or you have a comfort saying, yaar, kabhi bhi kuch ho jaye, I can go back to Lufthansa, to wo job to hai hi meri. These are the things that are matter, and that's what happens in investments as well. But exact, it depends on the person.
So in the interest of time, the other guest is also waiting.
Yes.
We'll wrap this up. You can grab Saurabh for a couple of minutes if you still have very, very burning question. But as Saurabh said, you can reach out on LinkedIn or download Stable Money.
आप Stable Money पे download करो, you go 10 lakh investments and call that number will land to me.
Yeah, and he's not kidding, it's true.
No, it's okay. It's an honor. Thank you so much for being so patient for this. I've never been on that side, but it really feels good that 80% of you wanted to start something. And at any point in time, if I can be of any help, right from doing a small angel investments to placements to anything, I'll be very happy to help you guys. So if you see me around in Bangalore at any point in time, please just come and say hi. Happy to interact and talk more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. Small token of appreciation.
मुझे विदित दे दो यार, ये नहीं चाहिए.
तो बाद में.
Thank you. Thanks.